Have you ever felt a sudden, inexplicable distance from a close friend? A quiet shift in the atmosphere where things just don't feel the same, leaving you confused and wondering what you might have done wrong? It's a deeply unsettling feeling, one that can shake the very foundations of trust you thought were unbreakable. We often picture betrayal as a dramatic, intentional act, a discovered secret, a vicious lie. But what if the most common and painful betrayals are not malicious at all? What if they are silent, subtle, and committed by people who genuinely believe they are good friends? The truth is, our social bonds are fragile ecosystems, and often the erosion begins not with a bang, but with a whisper. In this video, we're diving into the hidden psychology behind these unconscious acts of betrayal. We'll uncover the 9 surprising reasons why people, often without a shred of ill intent, betray the trust of their closest friends. The first reason might just change how you see every relationship in your life. Reason 1, the unseen competition. Let's begin with a force so primal it's often hidden from our own conscious minds: unconscious competition. Imagine 2 friends, let's call them Sarah and Mia, who've been inseparable since college. They celebrate each other's successes, or so it seems. But when Sarah lands her dream job, Mia's congratulations feel just a little hollow. She might quickly change the subject to her own career struggles or make a backhanded comment like, "Wow, you'll have no life now." This isn't necessarily Mia being a villain. It's the ancient wiring of our brain perceiving a friend's gain as our own loss. In a world of limited resources, a friend's success can subconsciously trigger a fear of scarcity, of attention, of status, of value. So they betray the friendship by dimming your light to make their own seem brighter, all while being completely unaware that they're engaging in a silent, one-sided battle. They aren't trying to hurt you. They're trying to soothe their own hidden insecurities. Reason 2, the empathy gap. Next, we encounter the empathy gap. True friendship is built on a foundation of mutual understanding, a shared emotional language. But what happens when one friend is going through a profound crisis, a painful breakup, a family loss, and the other simply can't connect with that depth of pain? The struggling friend reaches out, needing a lifeline, and the other, uncomfortable with such raw emotion, offers a cliché. Everything happens for a reason, or just stay positive. This isn't always a dismissal. Often, it's a defense mechanism. They can't bridge the gap between their own emotional state and yours, so they offer platitudes instead of presence. This failure to meet you in your moment of despair is a subtle betrayal of the friendship's core contract. It leaves the suffering friend feeling isolated and alone, questioning whether their pain is valid, all while the other friend walks away believing they were genuinely helpful and supportive. Reason 3, the fragile ego's shield. Now, consider the protective yet fragile ego. Constructive criticism is a gift among true friends, a sign of trust and investment in each other's growth. But for a person with a fragile ego, any feedback feels like a personal attack. You might gently suggest a different approach to a problem they're having, or point out a pattern that's causing them harm. Instead of considering your words, they immediately become defensive. They might counterattack, bring up an irrelevant mistake of yours, or completely shut down. In that moment, their need to protect their self-image is more important than your relationship. They betray the trust by refusing to see you as an ally, and instead casting you as a critic. The friendship becomes a minefield where you can no longer be honest, for fear of being exposed as inadequate. The relationship stagnates, not out of malice, but out of a deep-seated fear of being exposed as inadequate. Reason 4, the comfort of the bystander. This reason is one of the most common and yet most heartbreaking. Imagine a situation where a mutual friend is gossiping about your best friend, spreading unkind rumors. You're present, and you have the power to defend them, to shut it down. But the social pressure is immense. You don't want to cause a scene, you don't want to become the next target, so you stay silent. You might even nervously laugh along. Your inaction, your choice of personal comfort over loyal action, is a profound betrayal. To the friend being talked about, your silence is as loud as agreement. It communicates that your social safety was more valuable than their dignity. This passive betrayal erodes trust faster than almost anything else, because it reveals a lack of courage and conviction where it matters most.
Reason 5, the Invisible Scorecard. Friendship is meant to be a symbiotic flow of give and take, but for some, it becomes a transactional ledger. This is the curse of the invisible scorecard. This friend subconsciously keeps a running tally of every favor, every kind gesture, every emotional investment. They gave you a ride last month, so they expect you to help them move this weekend. They listened to your problems, so now it's their turn to vent for hours. The betrayal occurs when this score becomes unbalanced in their mind. They feel a simmering resentment, a sense that they are being used, even if you are completely unaware of this hidden accounting system. The friendship is no longer about connection. It's about settling debts. They betray the spirit of generosity by turning compassion into a commodity, leaving you feeling confused and used for a crime you didn't know you were committing.
Reason 6. The environmental contagion. Human beings are social chameleons, and we are profoundly influenced by the environments we inhabit. This leads to environmental contagion. Your friend starts a new job with a hyper-competitive, cynical culture, where they begin dating someone who is manipulative and distrustful. Slowly, you start to see a change. Their values begin to shift. They become more critical, more guarded, less generous. The friend you knew seems to be fading, replaced by an echo of their toxic environment. They betray your shared history and values by adopting a new, harmful code of conduct. It's not that they consciously decided to change. They've been slowly molded by a new social pressure cooker. You feel you're losing them not to a person, but to an atmosphere. And the betrayal is in their inability to resist the contagion. Reason 7. The projection predicament. Our next reason comes from the depths of our own subconscious, projection. This is a psychological defense mechanism where we disown our own uncomfortable feelings and attributes and instead attribute them to others. A friend who is deeply insecure about their own intelligence might constantly question your decisions, framing it as you being impulsive. A friend who is not fully committed to their own goals might accuse you of being lazy or unambitious. They are seeing a reflection of their own inner turmoil in you. The betrayal here is twofold. First, they are unfairly criticizing you for traits they refuse to acknowledge in themselves, and second, they are using you as an emotional dumping ground for their own unresolved issues. It creates a confusing dynamic where you are constantly defending yourself against accusations that have nothing to do with you. Reason 8. The forgotten promise. Seemingly small, casual promises are the glue of trust. I'll definitely be there Saturday. I'll call you tomorrow to check in. I'll read your proposal this weekend. To the person making them, these are offhand comments, but to the person receiving them, they are small tokens of reliability. The betrayal occurs when these micro-promises are consistently broken without a second thought. The friend who is always 30 minutes late, the one who constantly cancels plans last minute, the one who never follows through on the small things, they are inadvertently communicating that your time and your expectations are not valuable. This death by 1,000 cuts slowly bleeds the trust out of a relationship. They don't see it as a big deal, but each broken micro-promise is a tiny fracture in the foundation of the friendship. Reason 8. The assumption of invincibility. Finally, we arrive at the most paradoxical reason of all, the assumption of invincibility. This is the friend who takes the relationship completely for granted. They believe the bond is so strong that it requires no maintenance, no nurturing, no active effort. They stop initiating contact, assuming you'll always be there. They become less considerate, believing the friendship can withstand any strain. This is a betrayal of neglect. By placing the entire burden of the relationship on you, they devalue it. They love the idea of your friendship, but fail to participate in the reality of it. The message sent is that you are a permanent fixture, not a living, breathing relationship that needs care and attention to survive. It's a betrayal born not from hatred, but from a misguided and lazy sense of security. So, what can we learn from these 9 hidden betrayals? The uncomfortable truth is that we have all likely been on both sides of this equation, both the one feeling this thing of betrayal and the one unknowingly causing it. The goal of understanding the psychology isn't to assign blame, but to foster awareness. It's a call to look inward and audit our own behavior. Are we competing with a friend? Are we keeping a scorecard? Have we become a passive bystander? True, resilient friendship requires conscious effort, radical honesty, and the courage to sometimes have difficult conversations. It demands that we choose courage over comfort and empathy over assumption. By recognizing these unconscious patterns, we can move from being passive participants in our relationships to active, intentional architects of deeper, more trusting, and truly unbreakable bonds. If this journey into the hidden workings of friendship sparked your curiosity, then you're exactly where you belong. Subscribe to FactSpark Wave and hit that notification bell because we have so many more mind-blowing insights into psychology, human behavior, and self-improvement coming your way. We turn complex facts into captivating stories, all to help you understand the world and yourself a little better. Subscribe now and join our community of curious minds.